Hello YouTubers. Well, I've got a busy week next week. I've got Teresa Harris, Zipster, Carl Daly and One Eye Blind coming to stay with me on Monday and Tuesday, what I sort of call the American invasion, so that will be nice, and I'm sure they'll be putting a lot of videos up on their own channels telling you all about it. But I've picked up quite a few new viewers, and people are asking me about things that really probably I've already talked about before. So I thought I'd go back to the Telling It All series, and of course they are really only sort of talking about life as it was many years ago compared to life as it is now. And because the last video I did was Father's Day, I thought I might talk again about my own father and my own family, and well, to tell you that things were very much different years ago. Men seemed to rule the world, and women hadn't been liberated. Perhaps during the war, when women took the jobs of men, perhaps that was the start of the liberalisation, but by and large the man was the bread earner and the woman was the housewife and mother to the children, and so that's how it was in my day. And fortunately I had a very happy childhood, and my family and the family of my friends all seemed to be content together with the situation that prevailed, and so that was really how it was. And I loved my father, and he although of course as a child you spend a lot of time at school and a lot of time with your friends, my dad and myself always seemed to be together, and well, we had a wonderful time. He taught me to drive. We had an old Austin 7 motor car, which not many people did have motor cars in those days, and you would think that we would be privileged to have one, but he was a butcher and it was used for his business, and so we were often out in this old Austin 7 car. And when I was quite young I used to sit on his lap and steer it, and as I got a bit older I used to change gear on the signal from him to, he would push in the clutch and say change it now, and I'd crash it down to another gear, and gradually learned to drive that way. And of course by the time I could reach the pedals he let me drive it, which of course was a great thrill for a child of 10, 11 or whatever I was, and so that was nice. And I remember going along, he was always singing, and that was nice. I think probably he had quite a good voice, and I know that when he went out to pubs there was always a piano in the pub and a sing-song, and I've no doubt that he was singing away like crazy, and if there had been things like karaoke in those days, I bet he would have been one of those who got up onto the stage and performed, shall we say. So that was a very happy time. And he was a butcher, and he taught me butchery. He taught me to shoot. I remember the first time, I must have been quite young, when he let me fire his double-barrel 12-bore shotgun, and the damn thing just about blew me over, and I didn't hit anything. I suspect the barrel just went straight up into the air, but he then bought me a 410 shotgun, and we went out rabbiting together, and that was quite nice, and we were just good friends, and so I have the happiest memories of my father. He was a man who could do everything. I suppose as a child you just do think that your dad can do everything, but he was one of these people who really could. And he tackled everything. And I remember when petrol got very short, he did his deliveries of his meat with a pony and trap. And this pony was stabled in a brick building at the bottom of the garden, and he actually he shod the pony. Goodness knows how he learned that, but he would tackle anything. And that pony, I think he must have overfed it. He must have given it too many oats or even some beans, I suppose, because when the trap was put into the trap and harnessed and loaded up ready to go, he had to have a neighbour, stand in front of it, because when the pony felt the weight of him getting into the trap, it would have been off like a bullet. So this man stood at the front, holding it back while Dad got into the trap, and then the man leapt out of the way as the pony took off. But he would do all those sort of things, and we had a great time. I remember one time, and I think if you're going, I mean, as a parent, I suppose we all know, if you're going to make a threat to a child to tell it not to do something, and you make a threat, then that's stupid if you make an idle threat that you're not going to carry out. And similarly, to make a promise to a child is not nice. And I remember going along with him in the car one day, and there was a big poster which was advertising a tattoo, and I didn't know what a tattoo is, and I suppose I don't even today, but it was like a glorified circus, I suppose, with horses and things like that. And I remember as we passed, he said something like, "We'll go to that, boy." And so, of course, as a child, I mean, you think going to something means either today or tomorrow, and of course it didn't happen. And I can remember thinking about that many years later and sort of thinking, when's Dad going to take me to that tattoo? And of course, well, I don't know that he didn't intend to, but I don't think you should make promises to children that you can't keep. So what do I want to tell you now? Well, it depends what the time is. My goodness, right. So I had a very happy childhood. Another crazy thing that my father did. He had bought a sort of a small holding where he was going to build a bungalow for his retirement. Poor man never reached his retirement. The bungalow was built, but he died just before the day they were going to move in. He died quite young, at the age of 54, when I was in my 20s, and I had of course left home by that time, but he died far too young. But this piece of land had it was on a sort of hillside, and he wanted to plough up a bit of the hillside for whatever reason, I don't know. So he bought an old tractor, one of these old tractors with iron wheels, and it didn't have all the contraptions and all the hydraulics to attach ploughs to, so he had a horse-drawn plough, and of course guess who he got to drive the tractor, which of course was a great thrill. I don't know how old I was, I'd be in my early teens, I suppose. Unfortunately, he chose to, he probably knew that you should, he chose to plough uphill and not go across the hill, but the tractor made so much noise that he attached a rope to my arm, so that when he wanted to give a command, we had some signal. So I drove this tractor at full bore with all this noise going up the hill, with Dad walking behind like it was a mechanical horse. And tugged at my arm to give me the signals to stop, turn, or jump off or something. So I had a wonderful relationship with my dad, and I'm sure if there had been a Father's Day in those years, I would have sent him a card. But time has beaten me as usual, so I'll have to go now. I'll see you all again very soon, and next time I'll tell you all about the visit from the American invasion. So, as usual, goodbye.